Hey folks, in today's short video, I'm going to share with you the secret ingredients to gratitude that is often not talked about. It's Kute, Blackson, nationally best-selling author of You Are the One. We are in Thanksgiving week. Happy Thanksgiving to you, your family, your friends, your children, and your loved ones. The more you give thanks, there is a power in giving thanks. And so the more you give thanks, the more you will have things to thank about. Also, the more you give thanks and live in gratitude and appreciation, the more you will see in your life the things that are already existing that you have to give thanks about, that perhaps you miss, you take for granted, you don't even see, you're not even aware of, or you totally forget because you get used to it every single day. There is a power in giving thanks. So it's not simply that what you think about you become, but it's also what you think about you become. And it's not just what you think about you attract, it's what you think about you attract, because gratitude and thanksgiving moves you into a state of openness and appreciation, which shifts your energy, which becomes even more attractive to that which you're giving thanks about, and more of that which you're giving thanks about in your life. There is a power in giving thanks. We often thank our friends and our family, especially during Thanksgiving time. It's an opportunity to come together and appreciate what has happened in our life, appreciate all those that have been in our life, appreciate what people have done for us, what God has done for us, what life has given you. I think this is an amazing thing. But one thing I see is often missing is how often do you thank yourself? Like, seriously. We thank everyone else. Even when someone wins an award, I want to thank my wife, I want to thank my husband, I want to thank my kids, I want to thank, God. But how often do you take a moment in your life to stop, to connect, to look yourself in the eyes, to appreciate your heart and your mind, and appreciate all of who you are? We sometimes think it's being egotistical. We sometimes think it's being selfish. I think it's actually being egotistical to not give yourself the necessary, the important gratitude and appreciation that you deserve. So when was the last time you truly looked yourself in the eyes? When was the last time you truly took stock of yourself and deeply allowed yourself, gave yourself the permission to give thanks for who you are? Now, I'm not talking about what you accomplished, because you are not what you accomplished. Sometimes we tie our self-worth and our gratitude in terms of who we are, our willingness to appreciate ourselves based on what we achieve, what we attain, what we gain. But ultimately, your worth, your value has nothing to do with successful failure by material standards. Just the fact that you exist, just the fact that you are alive, just the fact that you wake up every day, just the fact that you persevere despite all of the challenges and the difficulties and all those times where perhaps life was difficult and people betrayed you and you felt heartbroken and one of your parents died or your loved one died or your kids went through challenges, and just going through life as a human being can be difficult and challenging at times. Yes, we live in a world where we're constantly being bombarded by the media. It's not necessarily the easiest experience being yourself. It takes courage to be who you are. It takes courage to be human, to wake up every day despite the vulnerability and the fragility of life, and be willing to love, be willing to live with an open heart, be willing to be kind, be willing to be vulnerable. It takes tremendous courage. And so for all those times you may have felt like giving up. For all those times you may not have felt like doing what you needed to do. For all those times you may not have felt like showing up for your kids because you were tired and exhausted. For all those times where you didn't feel like going to work, but you followed through and you made a difference. For all those times you did things in private that no one will ever know. All those times you prayed for people and you were kind to people, and all the things you do each day that people don't see. For all those times, do you thank yourself for who you are, for not giving up, for not committing suicide, for persevering, for transforming, for having the courage to reach up, life isn't easy. We're like human beings. We're born these bright lights as little children, and yet we face difficulties in life. I mean, as a human being, none of us escape the experience of experiencing some kind of trauma in our life. Maybe it's pain, maybe it's divorce, maybe it's hurt, maybe it's abuse, maybe it's neglect. As human beings, we all face some situations that are difficult and challenging in life. And rather than, it's like having a flower growing and a cement block is thrown on you. You would think that this flower, like you're a flower, right? You'd think that this flower would just give up and stop and die and shrivel up. But no, you will see if you go to the pavement, the cement, you through the cracks of the cement, the weeds and the flowers and begins to grow and it reaches for the light. How often do you thank yourself for existing? It takes courage to be who you are, to grow up and be who you are. You know, there was a funny moment when I saw Snoop Doggy Dogg, the rapper, where he won an award. I think it was a Hollywood Walk of Fame, and he actually stood up. I saw him do this with such, humor. He stood up and he said, I want to thank myself for those late nights of working hard. I want to thank myself. I want to thank myself for coming up with this idea. I want to thank and I thought it was so insightful and simple and humorous. How often do you thank myself? So what could you thank yourself for that you take for granted? What about yourself do you not appreciate? Sometimes we don't thank ourselves because we feel as though we haven't made it. We're not perfect. The more you thank yourself, energy flows to the point of attention. The more you thank yourself and focus not on what you didn't do or what you could be or what you should have done, the more you focus on what is beautiful about you, the more what is beautiful will expand. Energy flows to the point of attention. The more you focus what is great about you, and the more you're grateful for who and what you are, the more of what you're appreciating will also appreciate. The more you will unleash and activate resources inside of you, skills inside of you, talent inside of you that perhaps was dormant inside as you focus on being grateful for that within yourself. What you appreciate inside of yourself only appreciates. One of the things that stops us from sometimes thanking ourselves is thinking we need to be different. One of the things that might stop you from thanking and appreciating yourself is this illusion, this idea that, we need to be perfect. Please recognize that there is no perfection at the level of the personality. So we have this idea sometimes that when I heal myself and when I shift this pattern completely and when I'm a perfect human being, there is no perfection at the level of the personality, at the depth of your being. At the depth of your being, you are a soul having a human experience. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to be challenged. You're going to be an ever-evolving process as a human called you. So it's okay to not have made it. It's okay to not have arrived. You will always be in process and continual arriving while being totally perfect as you are. So the fact is, no matter how much you work on yourself, you may never reach some state of perfection. But to thank yourself for being who you are and striving, to thank yourself for being in the process. At the depth of your being, you're already whole, perfect, and complete. And thank yourself for that as well. Sometimes one of the things that stops ourselves from really being in gratitude and appreciation for who we are is we're constantly focusing outside, comparing ourselves. This is a killer to giving thanks. Comparing ourselves to people outside, comparing ourselves to that person and that person's life and what that person has and what that person's doing. And we go on Instagram and that person seems more ahead of the curve than me. And so we start disconnecting from the genuine gratitude and thanks for who we are. I wish I was like that. Comparison is a killer. Ultimately, you are a unique expression, an emanation of life. You are divine art. There will never be another like you. There will never be another human being with your thought process, with your history, with your fingerprint, with your way of seeing life. You are art. Focus on your uniqueness. Focus on what you have. Focus on how far you've come, not simply on how far you have to go. There is a power in giving thanks. And so this Thanksgiving, I want to invite you Enjoy your families, folks. Celebrate your families. Celebrate life. Celebrate all you're grateful for. Most of all, recognize that you are the gift this Thanksgiving. You are that gift. The greatest gift you can give the world is not what you do. The greatest gift you can give the world is not what you attain. The greatest gift you can give the world and those around you this Thanksgiving and holiday season is not something that you buy, but is who you are. By being the most authentic, genuine, just being yourself fully, this is the gift. And I really believe that those in your life, if they truly love you, if the connection's real, they will be thankful for you sharing your heart and your soul. Even though it may be imperfect, it's imperfectly perfect, they will be most grateful for you sharing who you are with them. So folks, this Thanksgiving, remember who you are. This Thanksgiving, remember what's important about you. This Thanksgiving, focus on what's beautiful about you. This Thanksgiving, I want you to place your hand on your heart and wholeheartedly thank yourself. You made it this far. You made it to this moment. You are amazing. Happy Thanksgiving, folks. And remember, Thanksgiving is not just one day. Thanksgiving is each moment. Thanksgiving is each breath. Thanksgiving is every day of your life. The more you give thanks, the more you will have to give thanks about. It's not just what you think about that makes a difference, but what you think about. Keep giving thanks. Folks, if you enjoyed this short video, please do share it with your friends and your family. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I will see you in another video.